What is up, boys? My name is StevieWunderKid, and we are back again with another Fast and Furious replica build. In this video, we're going to be kicking off our series of builds covering the cars in the movie Fast X, which is obviously the most recent addition to the franchise. I watched the movie. I thought it was actually pretty funny and pretty cool. So yeah, I wanted to kick off this trend and kind of revive the build series on this channel. And for the first build here that we're going to be doing, we're going to be recreating Isabel's 1975 Datsun 240Z. This was the car that she drove in the drag racing scene in Rio de Janeiro against Dante and a couple other racers, including Dom. And then Dante just goes kind of sicko mode and starts blowing everybody up. So I'll let you guys watch the movie if you haven't already, but we're going to be recreating the car from that scene. And yeah, this is a 75 Datsun 240Z, really nice car. And to recreate this car in GTA 5, we are going to be using the Karin 190z. Now you can pick up the 190z off of the Legendary Motorsports website for $900,000. And then considering all the upgrades that you're going to need for this build, which are quite a lot actually, you can get a really close match, which is great. But all said and done, you're going to be spending about $1 million on this replica in total. So just keep that in mind. It is fairly expensive, but I think the match is decent, as you guys can see here. So yeah, we're going to get into it right now. So the first major upgrade here, unfortunately, it's arch covers. And you guys probably know, if you've driven the 190Z, that the wheel fitment is absolutely horrendous. So unfortunately, to get a close match to the car in the movie, we are going to want to run fender flares, because the car in the movie did have, I think, a Pandem kit equipped on it as well. So to get as close as possible to that, we are going to run the trimmed arches. Although the wheel fitment, as I said before, is completely horrendous. Like, look at that, like that's an abomination. But although the wheel fitment is bad, I think the styling of the arches themselves is really close to the movie car as well. So we are going to have to bite the bullet and run these for the sake of accuracy. So trimmed arches is the way to go there for the arch covers. Armor, brakes, and engine and all that other stuff relating to performance, that's up to you and what you have unlocked. We're only going to go over the visual stuff. But anyways, moving into bumpers here, in the front bumper, I chose the tuner bumper because this retains that kind of factory lip that goes across the front right below the headlights there, and kind of matches the look of the OEM bumper on the 240Z. On the car in the movie, that black lip that you guys see here was actually yellow. Unfortunately, we really can't get that match here in GTA 5, so we're going to have to bite the bullet and just leave it black. But I think the tuner bumper, because it retains that black lip and also has like an extension towards the bottom of the bumper as well, in my opinion, that looks really close. So I think the tuner bumper is definitely the way to go here for the front. And then for the rear bumpers, it's really simple. We're just going to remove the rear bumper bars there, nice and clean, and that's probably the best match you're going to get. So that's all handled. Next up for the engine here, I want to mention this as well. There was a pretty huge discrepancy for the engine because in the movie, everybody talks about it as if it's equipped with a RB26 engine. There's an exposed turbo as well, and there's even a dump pipe for like the wastegate and the exhaust coming out the side of the car as well. So supposedly it has an RB26, but in actuality, the car was equipped with a small block Chevy engine, I guess for the sake of reliability. So because of that discrepancy, we actually don't get to see the engine that's equipped in this car in the first place, which sucks. So for the engine block and really all the details relating to the engine, except one thing that I'll show, you can kind of do whatever you want here. Because the stock engine in the 190Z actually looks very close to an RB engine to begin with, you can kind of go nuts here and style it however you want. You could do whatever engine block you'd like here. That's kind of up to you. For the engine tunes, obviously that's up to you too. Brace bar, again, you can kind of use your own discretion to choose what you want. But for the engine detail, this is where I think you guys should choose the stock engine detail. And the reason why is because the car in the movie has like supposedly has a turbo setup, obviously because it's an RB26. It's got the exposed turbo coming out of the hood as well. So in addition to that, when you look like under the hood, you can see an intercooler, like a big vibrant intercooler. And I think to kind of replicate that and give it like a fake intercooler look, the stock engine detail kind of makes it look like that because it's got a really beefy radiator, as you guys can see there. Any other option for the engine detail here is the intercooler, and like the radiator looks way smaller. So if you choose the stock engine detail, so you have the beefiest and most exposed radiator, when you close the hood, it kind of looks like there's an intercooler there. So that was kind of the methodology behind choosing that. I think that's kind of close. So stock engine detail, I think, is the best match to kind of give it that fake intercooler look there. That's what I choose for the engine detail. Everything else there's kind of up to you. For the exhaust, there's again two main options because the engine setup on this car was really weird because it was equipped with a small block Chevy, and for that the exhaust was actually routed to the rear of the car. So you'd expect to see something like the stock exhaust if you're considering that. But because there was again the whole fake RB26 setup as well, there's also an exhaust that leaves out the side of the car for the dump pipe and the wastegate dump for for the turbo. Because of that, there's two main options that would work. There's the stock exhaust that you could choose that leaves out the back here, and that kind of retains the clean look of the outside of the car. But if you kind of want to mix things up and give it the look of like the side dump pipes, I think this is a little bit more authentic to the car in the movie because it coincides with the RB26 engine being equipped. The Hexat exhaust I think is the other main option that would work because it dumps out the side, although it dumps out the wrong side of the car, and there's like 6 distinct exhaust pipes there rather than just like 2 for the wastegate and for the exhaust dump. I still think it looks kind of close, and I still think it looks kind of cool. This is not something that I'd normally run, but for the sake of being as faithful to the movie car, then I think this is definitely a little bit of a better match. But again, if you want to keep it clean and you're not satisfied with the match for that exhaust, you can just leave it stock too. Kind of confusing, I know, but hopefully I talked you through everything that you guys will need for that. For the grills here, I chose the framed grill because it eliminates some of the empty space. If you just removed everything there, I think it looks way too empty. Although the car in the movie technically also has no trim running around this little where the area of the grill is on the car here in GTA, I still think the framed grill kind of fills some of the empty space and looks a little bit cleaner in my opinion, which is why I chose that. But either removing the grill or choosing the framed grill I think is a pretty close match there. None of the other options are going to be as close, so that's all handled. For the hood here, we're gonna have to bite the bullet. We can't do the exposed RB26 turbo look, so we're just gonna leave like the factory 240Z hood, which is the ridged inset hood as you guys can see here. So that's all handled. Horn, that's up to you. For the lights, first off in headlights here, we're just gonna leave them stock. That's really nice and simple. And then the neons as well. This car didn't have any neons to my knowledge. If I missed this and the car actually did have neons, that I will update that in the pinned comment, but for now I left the neons off because I didn't see any. So that's all handled there. For the livery as well, although this car did have some stickers both on the hood and on like the windshield banner as well, we can't really get a close match to that here in GTA, so we're just going to leave the livery off nice and clean. For the mirrors here, we're going to choose the stylized mirrors because these do paint the mirrors black like they were on the car in the movie, and overall the shape and styling of the mirrors themselves is almost spot on to the mirrors that are on Isabel's car on her 240Z. As you guys can see here, there are options to locate the mirrors kind of more forwards on the hood closest to the headlights with the classic mirrors as you guys can see here, but in my opinion they're really not as far up on the hood as they should be, plus the styling is obviously way off. So I think to get overall a closer match, I think the stylized mirrors are definitely your best bet here. Next up for the plate here, you're going to want to run the blue on white 3 plate as you guys can see here. It's the most bare bones plate and in my opinion best matches the look of the white Rio de Janeiro plates that was on the car in the movie. And then the plate number as well is 4RSX170. If you guys want to recreate a custom plate, now we actually have access to recreate a custom plate. If you guys want to do that, then you can get pure accuracy for the plate there, but for styling, blue on white 3 plate is the way to go. Next up for the respray, another pretty simple one. First off, for the primary color here, we're going to go into classics and we're going to choose a classic yellow. This is a yellow with a little bit of orange in it too, and in my opinion it's probably a perfect match to the color on the car in the movie. Very very close. If you guys want to pull a hex, then you can do that too, but I think just the vanilla yellow that you can choose here in GTA is a very close match. So classic yellow for the primary, and then the secondary, actually some people might miss this, but the secondary should be chrome because it paints the door handles chrome like it does on the car in the movie, and it also colors the headlights or the headlight trim chrome as well. So I think that's the most faithful match to the car in the movie. So secondary is handled, and then moving into trim color, I chose a graphite trim color as you guys can see here. The interior in the car was almost fully black. It didn't have as much wood trim as the 190Z does here in GTA, but that's okay. We can get somewhat of a close match by just painting everything graphite. It paints all the dash and the trim and even the seats that same color too, so I think that's a really good match. Next up we have the spoiler, and this is a really easy one as well. We're going to choose the section spoiler as you guys can see here. Really close match for giving it that kind of ducktail look, so that's all handled. Next up we have the suspension, and as if the wheel fitment already wasn't horrendous enough, I think to match up the stance of the car in the movie, because it was really high off the ground, you're just going to want to leave the suspension stock. Stock suspension, really high off the ground with horrible wheel fitment. That's unfortunately as close as we can get to it in GTA. Kind of disappointed about that, but that's kind of what we're gonna have to deal with here. So everything else here is up to you. Moving into wheels, there's kind of one specific match. I know a lot of the other builds that I do, there's typically a lot of different options, but I think the wheels that I chose are probably the closest you're gonna get. So going into the street category here, I chose the Fujiwara custom rims. These are the closest possible match to the look of the, I don't know, almost Watanabe looking rims that are on the car in the movie. I know they're not those because they're slightly bigger, but I think overall the styling of these wheels compared to the ones on the Nissan 240Z in the movie are very, very, very close. They have a similar look in terms of the dish, the tire profile is the same, and the spokes also look similar too. So the Fujiwara custom rims are the way to go. As for wheel color, this is really weird. It almost looks like the wheels are painted some reflective like metallic color almost, because in some pictures it looks like they're a lighter like tan color, and other pictures they look like a really pure like alloy color as well. So I'm gonna chalk that down to just the color grading of the movie making the rims look different and different lighting, but I think there's two main options here that would work. So the first one is just the default alloy. This I think looks really clean, and it obviously makes the rims look kind of metallic. Obviously they're not chrome. The rims on the car in the movie aren't fully chrome as well, so I think the alloy is a pretty good match, but in some lighting as well, I think the rims look a little bit closer to the straw brown color as well. This also kind of retains some semblance of silver in there, but it also lightens the color up a little bit. I'm not personally a fan of the color of these just because I think it looks kind of off, but in some lighting, again, I think the rims kind of looked like they were this color. So I think either the straw brown or the default alloy for these rims are a pretty close match. I think most would work, and they're really not that much different from each other either, so just kind of pick what you think looks the best. So moving into tires here, first off for the tire design, we're just going to leave those stock. Tire enhancements, that's up to you, and the tire smoke, we're just going to leave that the default white. And then last but not least here we have the windows, and for this we're just going to run a light smoke because the windows on the car were definitely tinted. It's kind of hard to tell to what degree they were tinted. It was kind of just the quarter windows and the rear glass that was tinted, but I think to get kind of close to the look of that, the light smoke is definitely the way to go. So yeah boys, that is pretty much everything that you will need to recreate Isabel's 1975 Datsun 240Z from the Fast X movie. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this replica build. As always, feel free to leave any feedback on this build, any other alternate part options you maybe like me to explore in the future, and also suggestions for other builds that you'd like to see me do relating to maybe Fast X movie cars and other cars as well from the franchise. Then just let me know and I'd be happy to recreate those. But yeah boys, thank you guys so much for watching and supporting my content, and I hope you have an amazing day.